Well, after the U.S. president said a nuclear deal with Iran was getting close, Tehran holding talks with Britain, France, and Germany in Turkey this Friday. The meeting follows Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi's warning of, quote, irreversible consequences if the European powers move to reimpose United Nations sanctions on Iran that were lifted under a 2015 deal. For more, let's speak to our foreign editor, Philip Turle. Hello to you, Philip. First point of questioning, getting close, sort of close, what does that mean?
It's Donald Trump's usual way of being not too clear about what is actually going on. If you look at the statement from Donald Trump, we're in very serious negotiations with Iran for long-term peace. We're not going to be making any nuclear dust in Iran. I think we're getting close to maybe doing a deal without having to do this, meaning go to conflict with Iran. What he's basically saying is come to the negotiating table, sign that deal, get it out of the way, and then we will lift sanctions. If you don't do that, then we will start preparing a military strike on Iran, which has been backed by Israel, which is why Israel and the United States don't really see eye to eye over the way that Iran should be dealt with. The United States, under Donald Trump, trying to work out some kind of an agreement over Iran's nuclear deterrent. So that's the way things are right now. Now, there are more discussions planned this weekend, a fifth round of negotiations between U.S. and Iranian negotiators. We don't know how those are going to take place. And what Iran has been saying, our correspondent earlier this morning on France 24 was saying that the Iranians haven't actually received the document the US say they've handed over with the outline of those discussions in it, but maybe Qatar, which acts as a mediator in all of this between Iran and the United States, which has done so for many years, may come up with that plan ahead of those discussions on Sunday. So we don't know where this is all going to go. But basically what is going on is, OK, you sign the deal to dismantle your nuclear deterrent, and the United States will lift sanctions as a result of that. And at the same time, we will move forward and there won't be any military strikes on Iran. That is what is basically being offered on the table by the Americans.
It sounds similar to what we already had back in 2015. And Donald Trump pulling out of that nuclear deal then. Is he going to get anything better?
Well, that is the question that no one can answer right now. That was back in 2018 that the United States pulled out of the deal. Remember that Donald Trump said that was one of the worst deals that he'd ever seen. And that's why he was going to reimpose much stricter sanctions on Iran. Back in 2015, when that original deal was signed, it was the United States, France, the UK, EU, Russia, China, and Germany who signed up to it. They agreed to an end to enriching uranium only to 3.67% for a period of 15 years and to eliminate uranium stockpile for 13 years. Now, when it comes down to the agreement this time round, Iran has made it pretty clear that the United States request that uranium enrichment ceases completely is something that's a red line as far as they're concerned. So where they're going to draw that line afterwards in order to reach that agreement is still unclear right now. So Donald Trump may come away with something equivalent, maybe not quite as good, but depending on Donald Trump, you can be sure that he's going to try to sell this as the deal of the century. Basically because he says, look, we've already signed a deal with the Houthi rebels. They're an Iranian proxy group to stop them from firing missiles on ships. We're also trying to do away with Hezbollah, stop their bases being constructed in Syria following that meeting between Donald Trump and the new Syrian president. So there is more to this than just that. But when push comes to shove, it's difficult to see how there's going to be a deal there that's going to satisfy everybody. And we still don't really know where this is all going to work out this weekend. Now, you mentioned earlier on very briefly that there were going to be talks going on this weekend between, starting today, between France, the United Kingdom and Iran over the sanctions that were lifted in 2015 when this deal was originally signed. That was for a 10-year period. That period is going to end with what is called Termination Day on October the 18th. So Iran is under pressure to try to come up with some kind of an agreement with those countries so that those sanctions are not reimposed after that date, because that would be a huge hindrance for Tehran. And one other point that I think is key, which is good to underline, is that we don't know really what sanctions Donald Trump is talking about. Are they sanctions just imposed since 2018 by the United States, or are they all sanctions which also include, for example, sanctions over human rights abuses in Iran? So that also is something that we don't know the answer to right now.
All right, Philip, thank you very much. France 24's foreign editor, Philip Turle.